Hello and welcome back to another episode of my winter series where I celebrate produce of the season, and it's episode 6. It's gonna start looking like spring soon, we're almost there, but this week it's all about kale. So I'm making a kale pesto pasta sauce with homemade scissor cut pasta. I feel like kale definitely had its moment on the scene as being the trendy ingredient for health, being in all the salads, and it's kind of been and gone now. It's kind of seen as this kind of boring, healthy ingredient that no one really likes. And it's true, it is super healthy and good for you. It's got lots of vitamins that are good for like healing wounds, bone health, teeth, immune system, eyes. It's got some fibre in there as well. It is full of antioxidants. So it is really healthy, but it is also super tasty. And for me, this recipe is the ultimate way to make it all about taste and indulgence, even though it is also really good for you. And I've designed this recipe so that it's at least 29 grams of protein per person. So for me, this is kind of the ultimate way to get your nutrients, your protein, your carbs, all in a really healthy but satisfying, comforting pasta dish. So this is kind of, for me, the ultimate dish, and I hope you enjoy it. Now I'm going to start off by making my own pasta. You can skip ahead if you're just interested in the sauce, but I would recommend giving this recipe a go because it's so easy and it doesn't really take that long. We're cheating a little bit and doing this so that we can have fresh pasta in kind of the same time it would take to cook shop bought pasta. I'm starting off by making my dough, and you need to make this ahead of time, so maybe the morning of or the night before, and just leave it to rest in the fridge. It takes about 10 minutes to make and a decent amount of arm muscle, so you want to start by incorporating the eggs into the flour with a fork, and then when that becomes too difficult, you start kneading it by hand and keep kneading, incorporating the flour little by little. Put all your muscles into it, and eventually the dough will be nice and bouncy and your finger won't leave a dent. Now for the kale pesto, this is one of my absolute favourite pasta sauces. It's so tasty, so full of flavour, so vibrant, and added bonus, I always feel good about myself when I'm eating it just because it's so green. You can use any dark leafy veg here, whatever's local. I've gone for a blend of curly kale, which is nice and cheap, and some cavolo nero because she's having a bit of a moment. Everyone loves her at the minute. And what you want to do is remove the core and save that for a stir fry or something else, and just use those leaves, and we're going to boil them in salty water with 2 garlic cloves for 5 minutes, and then once they're nice and tender at the end, we're just quickly going to put in some parsley just to soften that up a bit. Then pop that into an ice bath or run cold water over it, and that's just going to help us maintain that really nice vibrant green colour. Then to a food processor, we're going to add some toasted almonds, some grana padano cheese, but you can switch that up with nutritional yeast if you're just looking to make this as a vegan sauce. And then we're going to add the juice of a lemon, the blanched garlic cloves that we'd put in our boiling water, and salt, pepper, and then we're going to chop that up with our greens. Then once they're nicely blended, we're going to add some extra virgin olive oil, blend that again until it's super lovely and smooth. Look at that sauce, yum. And now we're ready for the pasta. Look at the difference that time in the fridge has made. Our dough is now lovely and smooth and elastic, and all the water's absorbed really well. So that's ready. We can just flour our worktop, and we're gonna basically just cut little chunks out of the dough, and it's that easy. Don't have to roll it out, don't have to shape anything, just make little snippets into the dough. Try and keep them even if you can, just so they cook evenly, and not make them too thick, otherwise they take a long time to cook and they're just nicer in texture. But that's it really, just snip snip snip. And you can see that by chopping it with the scissors, we're creating these little indents into the pasta, which gives the sauce something to grab onto. So it's not just super easy and quick to do, it's also a really nice shape that works really well with this sauce. So I've gone ahead and chopped up all my dough so that while I'm chopping, the other little bits dry out. But I mean, you can chop them straight into the boiling water if you want. So we're going to cook them in some really salty boiling water for 5 minutes. And while they're cooking, I'm also adding some frozen edamame beans into the mix so that it cooks off, and that's going to add some extra protein to my dish and also some nice extra texture. And once those are cooked, I'm just going to fry them off with the sauce and some extra pasta water. I'm adding cannellini beans again for protein and texture, stirring that up, adding as much pasta water as is needed until it's ready to serve. At this point, it's ready to enjoy. I'm just being a little bit extra fancy, and I'm going to top it off with extra grana padano, some salt and pepper, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and my cheap man's healthier burrata, which is some low-fat cottage cheese, all completely optional. And now all that's left to do is to tuck into this delicious, nourishing bowl of green pasta. As always, I really hope you enjoy this recipe, and please let me know in the comments if you make it or if you have any questions. The recipe is also up on my website, so make sure to check that out, and please make sure to like and subscribe for more every week.